Hello, welcome to today's episode of Zeusing the Numbers, your statistics in sports podcast. I'm your host, Joshua Tracy.
And I'm Corwin and Josh.
And still no sports. Still 0 games being played. The MLB is currently... Actually, we didn't talk about this pre-show. The MLB is currently doing player MLB The Show League thing. So Major League Baseball players playing video games as themselves and their peers against other Major League Baseball players doing the same. Have you watched any of those games?
I have, and they're really fun.
I've seen every time I scroll past a clip of it on Twitter, I watch it, they are very entertaining. But I haven't actually watched any of the games. It's a great idea, though.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, you know how when they mic up players, like Mookie Betts just mic'd up in the outfield? That's always like one of the highlights of the game. Imagine that being the game. Except there's not people asking them questions. It's just them talking about the most random shit. Anyway.
That sums up exactly like the video clips that I've seen, which is lovely. Like I love hearing that shit. Because like as often gets discussed, baseball players have tons of personality, but the league does a really shit job of promoting them. And it's like, hey, if you put these fucking idiots in front of a microphone, people like them. What a shock. So yeah, it's nice. But anyway, that's
definitely something I hope spreads to other sports leagues. I know the NFL did it a little bit with like a handful of guys playing Madden.
I think those are usually more promotional though, like to promote Madden the game.
Yeah. I would just love to see some crossplay, like Tyreek Hill versus Fernando Tatis in NHL 20. That would be hilarious.
That would be amazing. Love to see it. Love to see it. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're going to talk about some football stuff because the NFL offseason marches on. It is, as we've said before, like the only sports thing that's really happening as it would have regardless for the most part. And then I want to talk a little bit about Jackie Robinson because today is Jackie Robinson Day. We're recording this the day before you're hearing it. We're recording this April 15th, which is Jackie Robinson Day every year. Jackie Robinson Day every day. And, give him a little bit of time on the show, and then we'll close out with a little bit of baseball stuff should time allow. Corwin, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's start off on a lighthearted topic. The Browns have released new uniforms, much as the Falcons did and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did last week. You've seen them, right?
I have.
Thoughts?
I really like them, but that's also because they just went back to what they were, and that is a success. I don't know. I mean, I've seen a bunch of Browns fans complain that they're the same as what they were 5 years ago. But at the same time, this is perfect. Like, I have no complaints about these uniforms. This is exactly how I would have done them if, I had that opportunity to do so. No bullshit with the numbers. The pants are back to normal. The colors are the perfect shades of both brown and orange. No frills, traditional styling. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, I think these are great.
These are the kind of uniforms they'll have for 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, I like you said, I understand this isn't flashy by any means. But at the same time, football, I think, lends itself to that. Mm-hmm. NBA jerseys are very flashy, which is great. It fits like the style of play and the personality of the league really well. And NFL jerseys, usually, I like to see a more traditional kind of look to it. And these are exactly that, man. I think it's great. Cleveland's got a very deep football history there. And so seeing jerseys that reflect how long that team has been in that city and It's nice. Plus, again, they're sleek. They are exactly when I picture Browns jerseys, these are like the jerseys I picture. So
Yeah. And for some reason, they like changed the socks up, and I love them. I love these new sock styles.
I have to
I
look at
don't
the
know
old
why,
ones
but
now. I don't even know what
yeah,
the old
like
ones look like.
I think they were solid colors.
The
I just
only
love
complaint
striped socks.
Oh, way better. Striped socks, but you're right, they were solid colors. The only thing I saw Browns fans on Twitter complaining about was that there was no orange pants. Do you care?
Oh no, no orange pants. God, like of all the things to nitpick, like let's be real, orange pants are just so far down the list of things I would want to see as a Browns fan. Like the orange never really looked good with the rest of the Browns uniforms. And I think the brown pants are significantly better and just lend themselves better to a classic football uniform. And the orange pants would just be so distracting compared to everything else going on. I don't know. If they did them right, it could have easily worked well. Um, but I think they hit the nail on the head here and they didn't really need to do anything else.
Agreed. Agreed. I don't think I give a fuck about orange pants. It'd be
Yeah.
one thing if it was like, how the Jets just decided to add a color to their uniforms that never existed in the 50 years of the organization by adding black. But like, so like, imagine if the Browns added, I don't know, powder blue as pant colors all of a sudden, you'd be like, why? But no, like, fuck yourself. Get out of here
Listen,
with your
Doug.
orange pants needing bitches.
Listen, if the Chargers just brought back the powder blue uniforms all the time, I would absolutely be all for that. I love those.
Oh,
Best
100%.
uniform in sports.
That'd be great.
Um, while we're on this topic, are there any other uniforms that you could think of that, since there's so much going on with uniform changes that you would like to see change? Like what team do you want to see change uniforms next?
That's a good
I
question.
know the Cardinals are coming up. Like they're releasing theirs soon.
Uh, the Titans logo is obviously not great. It's very busy and clunky and awkward. The jerseys I think are okay, but they'd probably be better after you change the logo. So then the logo wouldn't be on the jerseys.
Mhm.
Um, hmm,
I don't
damn,
like
that's
the
tough.
Texans all that much. I
It's fine.
like it's just super boring and like the way the styling is like it's like there's teams that are more minimalistic, I'll say, but I just don't like the styling of those uniforms. The Titans I really don't like. Jaguars do absolutely nothing for me. Really just those three that come to mind.
I'm looking at the standings just to give me a reminder of what the teams are. Um, Buffalo's I think are classic. New England's I think are fine. The Jets I hate. I still hate them. It's been a year and I don't like them still. Miami's is good. Baltimore is fine. I've never been a fan of their logo, which might be a hot take. I
Yeah.
don't know, but I think it's such a whatever looking logo. Pittsburgh's is fine. Cleveland's fine. Cincinnati's fine. Houston, you said it's kind of meh. Tennessee, I don't think either of us really like. The Colts has been the same forever. There's no reason to change it. Jacksonville is weird. I kind of like that they're weird, but they are weird. Um, Kansas City's fine. Denver's fine. Oakland's fine. The Chargers need to have more powder blue. That's it. The Eagles, I think their jerseys are fine. I hate the color green that they use, but I think the jerseys are fine.
Yeah, if they brought back like Kelly Green, I would love those.
The one thing that Eagles fans and Jets fans desperately want that their ownerships will never do is bring back their respective Kelly green uniforms. So
Meanwhile,
much
the
better
Oakland
look.
A's are just slipping them the middle finger from all the way over in California.
We hate you. We love you.
Yeah, we love them.
Uh, Dallas's jerseys I've always thought were kind of weird. I'm not
Yeah.
sure I care for them. I don't think they're bad, but I think they are clunky.
Like I get they're storied and have that tradition of being the Dallas Cowboys and they've had them forever. I don't like them. Like I think they're definitely in the top or bottom 10 as far as all jerseys go.
They're clunky, I think, is the perfect word I'm going to use for them. They just seem so haphazardly put together.
I hate the silver they use for like the pants, like the bluish silver. It looks
So
so
gaudy.
tacky.
Yeah.
Gaudy is a better word.
The Giants are good. The Redskins are fine. Packers are boring, but like again, it's an old ass jersey. It's just never going to change. Vikings are fine. Chicago's fine. Detroit's fine. New Orleans is fine. Atlanta just fucked their own shit up beyond belief. Tampa Bay's fine. Carolina's fine. San Fran's fine. Seattle's fine. The Rams. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm gonna say the Rams need to update their uniforms because that uniform is about to get fucked up by that new logo.
They also are releasing new uniforms this summer.
I bet, and I bet they're gonna look even more like the Chargers than they already do. And the Cardinals or whatever.
Yeah, so the Cardinals and the Rams, I think, are the only two still scheduled, likely before the draft. I don't know the specific dates, so hopefully by the next time we talk to you about sports, we'll have some updates there.
I'm really afraid of what these Rams jerseys are gonna look like because I'm looking at the thing we're going to talk about next, the Brandon Cooks trade, and in it, in the article I'm looking at, it has the Rams logo and the Texans logo, and I'm looking at the Rams logo and having to consciously say that's the Rams logo because I keep thinking it's the Chargers logo because of the colors and just the general way it looks, especially from a distance. And man, those jerseys are going to be awful.
I'm gonna hold my breath because it can't be worse than the logo, unless it is, and then I'm gonna fucking laugh hysterically.
If it's worse, dude, I don't even know what worse than the logo looks like, but now that you put that idea in my head, I can't wait to find out.
Like, you know how like the horns on the side of the helmet are like iconic for the Rams?
Oh
What
yeah.
if they just replace that with like the blocky Ram logo that they have now?
You know
That
what
would be
though?
awful.
I bet they're going to replace it with the LA because that ram horn look in the A is going to replace or supplement maybe the that fucking thing. Yeah, it's going to be bad.
Oh man, I am just not not excited for what they have. Oh, also the Colts changed their new uniforms.
Wait, the Colts have new uniforms?
Yeah, like they're not that wildly different. It's just they changed their logos up a little bit and they changed the lettering. And that's it.
I didn't even know they had new uniforms.
Yeah, it's
New
weird.
secondary logo and minor uniform changes to honor home state. I don't want to watch a fucking video. Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Like the only thing that's changing are like the numbers, and that's
They've
pretty
also
much it.
Updated the letter C, I guess for the captain logo.
No, like that's a Colts C, like the Colts logo.
Oh,
That's their new alternate logo.
Which has the gap in the C shaped as the shape of the state of Indiana, and it has 7 grommets, those found on our iconic and timeless horseshoe. Okay.
Sure.
It's not the worst thing I've seen. I will hold my tongue. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to shit on them. I don't think they're like atrociously bad. I think it's a little bit cheesy, but I don't think it's like atrocious.
No, I mean I kind of like the slight changes to like the numbers. I don't mind them that much at all. Um the stupid C with like I don't know the right term for it, but like the inner part of the C, the inside of the C is now a cutout of the state of Indiana.
Negative
That looks
space.
bad. Yeah, the negative space in the C is the state silhouette of Indiana. I don't like the way that looks.
It's
Other than
corny, and
that,
it's something that people who don't know, like me 5 minutes ago, would look at and say, "Why is that C fucking weird?" And then their friend sitting next to them, who also doesn't know, is going to be like, "I don't fucking know." And then it's just like, why would they do that to the C? And then you're both sitting there like, wow, that's awful. And then some third guy, Terry, he's going to come in and he's going to be like, oh, it's actually the negative space representing the shape of the state of Indiana, the state that the Colts are from. And you're going to go, wow, that's really fucking stupid. And and then move on with your day. Yeah. I'm not going to say anything else about it. Again, it's corny as shit, but whatever.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Shall we talk about Brandon Cooks?
Yeah, let's do it. So Brandon Cooks was just traded to the Houston Texans. Wow. Okay, I am looking very much at the wrong trade. This is from April 3rd, 2018. So, Josh, if you have it in front of you, that would be
yes. The Los Angeles Rams have traded Brandon Cooks to the Houstonian Texanians. The Houston Texans get wide receiver Brandon Cooks and a 2022 fourth-round pick, which feels so arbitrary. Although I guess the Rams don't have much left to give. And the Rams get a 2020 second-round pick, which is already determined as number 57.
Oh, I just don't care for this at all. It's not great. Go ahead.
It just makes the DeAndre Hopkins trade so much more confusing. I don't get it.
I don't either. Where's the value in this? Like, the dude is getting paid so much money. Like, you easily the step down in talent from DeAndre Hopkins to Brandon Cooks is pretty massive. I mean, I used to have a lot of hope for Brandon Cooks, but he just hasn't shown it. I mean, he's on his fourth team now, and he's 24, 26 now.
Yeah. All right. What do you think? I don't know if you have it in front of you already, but what do you think Brandon Cooks' cap hit is for 2020?
Oh God, I don't know. I'm gonna guess high and say it's like 18 million.
It is not. It was a lot higher last year. This year it's actually only 8 million. Although in 2021 it's 12 million, 2022 13, and then 2023 14.
Next year you said it's 20?
2021 it's 12. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
12. So anyway, this year it's 8 million. What is DeAndre Hopkins' cap hit in 2020?
8 million?
12.5.
Okay. Yeah.
Was it worth trading away literal actual DeAndre Hopkins to save $4.5 million plus Brandon Cooks?
Not really. Not really at all. I mean, I get DeAndre Hopkins was going to get an extension at some point and be the highest paid wide receiver in football. But this is a team that was trying to compete. And I don't even think you can call them a competing team anymore. They still have Deshaun Watson. They still have J.J. Watt. That's it for headliners. Brandon Cooks isn't a headliner. He's not going to carry your offense the way DeAndre Hopkins would. David Johnson has had one tremendous season as a rookie and has been good when healthy, except for last year when he was healthy and not good. We'll see what happens with him this year. We'll see what version of Brandon Cooks we get this year. But this is teams taking advantage of Bill O'Brien because he is not an experienced GM. He's not a guy who clearly has any natural talent for being a general manager. It's bad. If you're a Texans fan, I would jump ship. Go vote. Go be a Jets fan because at least I have hope for them turning it around soon.
I hope that I have hope after the draft. So I'm going to condense down what has happened between these two trades. The Houston Texans have received between these two trades DeAndre Hopkins, David Johnson, a 2020 second round pick, a 2021 fourth round pick, and a 2022 fourth round pick, and Brandon Cooks. They have shed a 2020 second round pick, which basically just cancels out in the from the numerator to the denominator of this trade division we're doing here.
If you carry the 3,
yep,
yeah, it works. That math works.
And they shed a 2020 fourth round pick, which again we can just cross out from the 2021 fourth round pick they got, or the 2022 fourth round pick they got, because guess what? Neither of those fucking matter. And DeAndre Hopkins is also gone. So really, do you think DeAndre Hopkins is worth one David Johnson plus one Brandon Cooks plus a fourth round pick in either 1 or 2 years?
No.
Like if someone offered you let's take the picks away entirely. If someone offered you in fantasy football DeAndre Hopkins or David Johnson and Brandon Cooks for DeAndre Hopkins, would you take it?
No, not in a million years. It's all about consolidating value, and this is the opposite of that. It's just, first of all, I don't know what David Johnson's salary is off the top of my head. I think it's something like $11 million a year. If you want to fact check that while I'm rambling.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about this in a minute, about the whole conversation about should you pay running backs a second contract? Should you pay them really any guaranteed money, whatever it may be? I'm very much in the boat of no, you shouldn't. And, David Johnson had one good rookie year. I probably wouldn't have signed him to a second contract. I definitely wouldn't have traded for his second contract after he's underperformed every season after that. And the same with Brandon Cooks, who has underperformed nearly every year after signing multiple contracts. Meanwhile, you have DeAndre Hopkins, who always outperforms the money he makes. And the fact of the matter is you're giving away the best player in the deal for two guys that are underperformers, and you're paying more overall for arguably less production. And you could easily get, one of the top 6 running backs in the class this year, probably the top 3 rounds easy. You don't have a first round pick because you traded it away. That's fine. You don't take a running back there anyway. The second round, I don't think they have a second round pick there because they traded it away.
They also got one in though, so I think they do have one.
At the end of the day, they're not getting a running back now anyway, so it doesn't matter. But
true,
you could have gotten a better running back than David Johnson on a rookie deal for significantly less money and still have the best wide receiver. It's just, there's no way you could look at this and say, we maximized our value here.
Oh, fuck no. Real quick, for fact-checking purposes, David Johnson is making $11 million. He's making $11,156,250.
So much money.
To be precise. Yeah, it's a ridiculous amount of money. Also, if you combine that 11 million, we're just going to round it off to 11 million, plus the 8 million that Brandon Cooks is owed this season, that is 19 million, which is 6.5, 7 million more than DeAndre Hopkins would have made this season. So not only do you end up with like maybe one additional pick than you would have had if you didn't do all this wheeling and dealing, you also end up owing $7 million more dollars, which again just in no way feels worth it. Especially as you said, in a position like running back, where the Texans, that was not a hole that needed to be filled. And whenever it has been, they've filled it very effectively. Like they have Duke Johnson Jr., who I understand isn't like phenomenal, but he will certainly get by. And I just really doubt they'd have trouble filling that position with almost anybody. Not saying that running back isn't hard. I'm saying that there's a lot of running backs available who can get you, relatively speaking, similar levels of production to other running backs. I just don't think these two guys between David Johnson and Brandon Cooks both feel like maybe like I don't want to say high floor, but maybe like a middle level floor. Like,
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if either of these guys were outright bad next season, but I also would be way more surprised if either of them were outright phenomenal, the way I would expect DeAndre Hopkins to be the way he's always been phenomenal.
Where would you rank Brandon Cooks as a wide receiver? Would you say he's a top 10, top 15, top 20, top 25?
Oh, that's a great question.
David Johnson, too, if you want to think about both at the same time.
Well, I'll confidently put David Johnson in the top 100. Oh man, that's fucking tough. I'll put Brandon Cooks in the top 32.
Top 32 wide receivers?
No, that's too mean. Top 20.
Okay, that's probably I would have him somewhere in the top 20. Probably on the lower end.
Yeah.
Probably closer, 15 to 20, somewhere in that range. But right now, based off of cap hit, he is tied with Robbie Anderson as having the 34th highest cap hit for all wide receivers, which by all means isn't bad. He's ahead of guys like Michael Thomas, Mike Williams, not many other big name guys on their second contracts. Emmanuel Sanders, he's ahead of, he's ahead of a lot of good rookies that are definitely going to get paid more. But as far as, veteran contracts for top wide receivers, he's at the low end, which, there is some value there. But David Johnson just drags all that right away. Where would you put him as, a skill level? Where would you put him?
He's so tough. I'll also put him top 20. I don't feel great about that, only because I just don't know what to expect from him.
Yeah.
I don't want to be disrespectful because he clearly has shown the potential to be very, very good, but he's just never stayed healthy. Real quick.
Yeah.
I want to ask you where these people ranked in terms of yards last season. Brandon Cooks, where did he rank in yards last season? Raw total yards.
I want to say, did he play a full season? Do you have it in front of you?
He played 14 games and started all 14 of them.
I'll say he got 900 yards. So I'll say he finished top 15 in wide receiver yards.
So this is all just receiving yards. So it's not just wide receivers. It's also running backs and tight ends. Brandon Cooks had 583 yards last season.
Holy shit, really?
Finishing 71st.
He had 500 yards? How many catches did he have?
Which one of these guys is receptions? I'm going to say that. I'm going to say 42.
Wow.
So he was efficient with his catches, 13.9 yards per reception there. But James White had more receiving yards than him.
Damn, I knew he had a down year last year. I didn't think he had that much of a down year. Holy fuck.
32-year-old Emmanuel Sanders had DK Metcalf, who was widely criticized for not coming into the season for not being able to run routes or some other weird shit. Had more receiving yards than him. Almost double. Not almost double, but 70% more.
Just a non sequitur. I like to believe that I was, fairly nice to DK Metcalf coming out. I was a fan of his.
I'd say you were pretty nice to him.
Yeah. Ethan fucking calls me out every time he has a good catch because he was on Ethan's fantasy team talking shit about how I thought DK Metcalf was going to bust and he was a jag and just was a nobody. And I just don't know how to defend myself because I had his back. I was on the DK Metcalf hype train. I was there saying, oh, his 3-cone drill was, out of context and he did better than people thought and whatever. Grinds my gears, man. Grinds my gears. Just had to bring it up.
Well, we must have talked about him last year pre-draft. So in theory, it's somewhere in this podcast.
Oh, yeah, no, like, I know I could go back and find that proof. That is too much work, and I'm never gonna do it.
David Johnson played in 13 games last season, only started 9 of them. Where do you think he ranked in the rushing yards category?
Oh, man, I wanna say he had, he also had, 550 yards. So I'll say that.
Where do you think that ranks him?
Outside the top 20?
He had 345 rushing
Oh,
yards,
fuck.
54th.
Fuck.
The person right behind him, quarterback Gardner Minshew with 340. And right behind him, quarterback Russell Wilson with 342.
So does that affect where you would rank David Johnson among top running backs?
Oh, it's so tough because this is so this is a single stat and it's not fair to judge someone by a single stat. But at the same time, plus he didn't start a full season and stuff like that. Actually,
Mhm.
hold on. This is kind of fascinating. Raheem Mostert, um,
Great season.
22nd. Did you know he started 0 games?
Yeah, the 49ers had a weird thing where they had 4 running backs all season that were all very good, and they just kept rotating guys in and out. It was it's weird that he didn't end up with an actual start, but
That's what I'm
yeah, it
saying.
doesn't surprise me all that much.
Gus Edwards for Baltimore played in all 16 games, and he only has 1 start, but he has
Mhm.
1 start.
Yeah.
Weird. Anyway, um, it's rough out here, man, for these two. That's so not great. Where do you think DeAndre Hopkins ranked in terms of yards last season?
Third among wide receivers, maybe?
That would be Chris Godwin with 1,333. DeAndre Hopkins was
What a great year.
11th last
What a
season with
great year.
1,165.
Man, 1,100 yards receiving, and he's 11th in the NFL. That's pretty good. That's a good
Yeah,
year for receivers.
the top 10, Michael Thomas, Julio Jones, Chris Godwin, tight end, Travis Kelce, Devontae Parker, Keenan Allen, Kenny Galladay, Amari Cooper, DJ Moore, and Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, all of those guys better than Brandon Cooks. I'll say that.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Would you take? Um, nah, I would. I was gonna say, would you take Kenny Galladay over Brandon Cooks?
oh, oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I would.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I would.
But just getting back to the point I was trying to make, do you know where David Johnson lands among cap hits for running backs?
Oh, it's got to be near the top, right? I'll say 8th.
Ooh, not close, Josh. He finished second behind only
Really?
Le'Veon Bell.
No way.
Yeah,
Well, that's
yeah,
going to change next season, as we'll talk about.
yeah. Oh, yeah, that will definitely change. But man, David Johnson, not a valuable commodity right now. And I am definitely glad I'm not a Texans fan. Like I said, I'm a fan of Bill O'Brien because of what he did at Penn State. Shoot that guy into the fucking sun for your own good, Houston. My God. He's going to destroy your team. Not just destroy your team in the short run, but these contracts may sink that team for a long time coming.
I get that this is a boys' club, and I get that someone high up, ownership, whatever, likes this guy. Give him, as we've said before on the show, give him just some generic ass consultant or a special advisor to the GM or some dumb shit where he gets to sit in the room and talk, but not actually make a fucking decision. Because wow, this is bad.
Oh yeah. It's embarrassingly bad. It really is.
Yeah, and this team is going to be heavily criticized next season, almost no matter what.
Mhm. Man, I don't really want to shit on the Texans for a while. Do you want to talk about Christian McCaffrey for a little bit?
Yeah, no, this feels like a
Speaking of
good transition point.
Speaking of questionable contracts, I have mixed feelings on this, so I'll let you go first, and then I'll try and dig deep into my brain for my true feelings on this.
All right, yeah, that works. So Christian McCaffery is having himself a wonderful quarantine. He just got signed to the largest running back contract in, I guess, technically history, but it feels so disingenuous to ever say modern contracts are like the biggest in history because, inflation and whatnot. But biggest contract in history, it is a 4-year contract extension worth $64 million, averaging him $16 million per year. Um, I'm trying to see if there's any specifics in terms of guarantee or anything, but there's nothing I see available yet. So that might just be all we have thus far.
Yeah, I don't think he's signed it yet, so I think this is just a verbal. This is what he's going to sign, and there's nothing definite yet.
I'm trying to see. I mean, Matt Rule has talked about it.
Uh, all I know is that it's for 4 years, 16 million a year, 64 total. And that's pretty much all I've gone off of. So I'm not digging deeper into guarantees or any offset money or anything.
Yeah, no, I guess we'll leave it at that. But that is a fuck ton of money in general
Yeah.
in life, and especially for running backs.
Oh, no kidding. That easily puts him over the top. Actually, I wouldn't say easily. It does put him over the top for the highest paid running back, topping Le'Veon Bell's $15.5 million per year against the cap. Um, I guess I said I was gonna let you do your opinion first, but I don't know. You want to go, or do you want me to just run with it for now? I don't care.
I think we've talked about this with running backs before. It's a tough spot because any popular player you want to keep, especially one that has obvious production like running backs do. Like it might not always be so clear to see what a nose tackle is doing or a center, but it's
Yeah.
really obvious to see where production from a running back comes from, kind of like wide receivers and quarterbacks. Those stats accumulate and they're very, very easy to keep track. The problem is, there's like, I guess maybe you could say there's a top tier of running backs, which is like a handful of dudes, and then everything else below that is, relatively speaking, interchangeable and system based. And even some of the best running backs are still a product of their system. Exceptions, of course, there's exceptions. Saquon Barkley, that team is fucking trash. He's amazing. Christian McCaffrey didn't have a good quarterback last season because Cam Newton was out. Didn't have a bad quarterback per se, but didn't have a great one, and still like racked up receiving yards. Had a great year.
Kyle Allen for a good chunk of the year.
That is true. So it's tough. Like, is there a chance this all ends up being fine? Sure. I guess there is. The same way, there's a chance that paying any player a fuck ton of money works out for you. As Core and I have talked about today and previously, giving a second contract to running backs of any meaningful size almost never works out. And it's almost never really worth considering because you can usually just draft a guy. It feels so shit to say, like, oh, you have a hole? Just fix it in like the third round. At the same time, running back's one of those rare positions where like you kind of can do that sometimes.
Yeah. There's not a huge learning curve with the draft, so it's easy to just find guys to plug in to your system.
Yeah, and it's so different because like we've talked about offensive linemen, like they usually need a few years to like learn how to play NFL O-line because college O-line's so different. Running back isn't. Like the play is faster because every play is faster at every increased level. And the dudes are probably bigger, and so they're going to hit hard. But again, that comes at every increase in every level in every sport. But yeah, like you said, I mean, like what you are doing as a running back, your responsibilities, your technique probably isn't changing much. So I I would feel I'm so conflicted. I think it makes sense. I don't necessarily like it. I don't necessarily dislike it. I understand it.
Mhm.
I would, and I guess maybe if I was a Panthers fan, I'd be more comfortable knowing we're not paying a quarterback a lot of money. So it's not taking away from like good quarterback salary. But if I'm not giving you a clear answer, it's because that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Unclear.
I know that feeling. I'm kind of in the same boat. I hate the idea of giving a running back this much money after being used so heavily the past couple of years. I know he's still young. I know he still has, stuff left in the tank. And 4 years for a guy that I don't know, how old is he? 26. It's not that big of a deal.
He is 24, 25.
20. Holy shit, he's 23. He'll be 24 by the start of the season.
Oh,
But
sorry. Yes, he will be. Yeah, 2020 will be his age 24 season.
so you basically have him at 16 million a year for the rest of his prime, right before the projected decline. I just like this salary, 16 million a year, would make him the sixth highest paid wide receiver in the NFL, not just running back, but also wide receiver, if you wanted to include that, because he's so much a receiver. He had over 1,000 yards receiving last year, getting paid more than guys like Allen Robinson, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins. Just so many top tier wide receivers. But at the same time, I think he deserves this. I think this is the running back you pay. I I know I'm going against everything I preach. I am being a hypocrite right now. I don't feel good about feeling this way, but he does so much for that team. Like he is that team's offense. DJ Moore had a great season. Curtis Samuel is there and has so much potential and can light it up next year. They had to operate with Kyle Allen at quarterback last year when Cam Newton couldn't play. And he was still one of the best offensive weapons in all of football. If he was just a running back, if he rushed for 1,500 yards every year, 50% more running production than he does now, 16 million is way too much, and that's just unacceptable. But he's getting paid twice as much as Brandon Cooks for twice as many receiving yards and an added 1,000 yards rushing on top of that. I think if you look at Christian McCaffrey as just a running back, you're shorting him as a player. If you're looking at this contract the way, if you're looking at this contract as just a running back's contract, I think, you're kind of shorting him as well. I don't want to be this, positive, having these kind of feelings towards his contract, but I can't help it. And I don't think I would have signed him to this, but here we are, and I don't hate it. I really don't.
I understand. Yeah. I mean, I want to sit here and shit on it, and I'd feel uncomfortable doing so.
Yeah, that's how I feel. It's just like I think this is going to be an exception to the rule of don't pay running backs second contracts. They always, end up bad. I think this is going to be the diamond in the rough, the exception to that, and I think this will work really great, especially when they're bringing in Teddy Bridgewater, man. Like,
Fucking Teddy Two Gloves.
yeah, like he has been a check down king for his entire career with the Vikings, with the Saints. It's not Alex Smith levels of check down, but he doesn't have a huge arm. He's not slinging it down the field. I think this is going to work out great for them.
I
I
think so
hope so.
too. And
I
and
hope
you know
so.
what? Chances are, if they end up not sticking with Teddy Two Gloves, they gave him a 2-year contract, right?
Teddy, I actually don't know.
I think it was a 2-year. Regardless, if they end up taking a quarterback either in this year's draft or next year's draft and transition away from Teddy Bridgewater, as I would expect them
3 years.
to, 3 years. I'm gonna assume at this point Teddy Bridgewater is like the occasional starter, more often backup quarterback, like transition guy, maybe.
Yeah.
Kind of like what dudes like Vinny Testaverde or Ryan Fitzpatrick, actually, for a more modern one, kind of what a Ryan Fitzpatrick is. Um, that's what I see Teddy Bridge. Anyway, so I would assume that this having Christian McCaffrey around through the next couple quarterback regime changes, because there's going to be at least one more, is probably also a slight or a less visible benefit to having him around. Like, what's something that's going to help out a rookie quarterback a ton? Oh, having like the best receiving running back in all of football. So again, it goes against my instincts. I want to sit here and be like 60 million per year for a running back. You fucking idiots! Who's running your team? Bill O'Brien. But sorry, Texans. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I'm not either. But at the same time, it's like, no, like, that actually like kind of checks. Like, yeah, I get it.
I have higher feelings on Teddy Bridgewater than you do. I think he's definitely going to be the starter for the next 3 years. I don't think they're going to be drafting anybody to replace him anytime soon. I think 3 years from now, 2023 is kind of when they might start doing that. I think it's hilarious that he has a smaller contract than Christian McCaffrey. 3 years, 63 million versus 4 years, 64 for McCaffrey. But yeah, I think Joe Brady and Matt Rule have themselves a really great foundation for an offense, and I think they're gonna just absolutely run with it. And it may not be great this year because who knows if we're gonna have any off-season training camp or anything leading into the season. We still have no idea how that's going to work. We're not even going to begin to projecting what that may be, but we'll see how it works out one way or the other.
I guess so. Whether we play in empty stadiums or not, fingers crossed. It's going to really suck if we can't do our annual preseason football game. And for anyone who's never been to a preseason NFL game, it's delightful.
Yeah.
It really is. They're on Saturdays. The weather's fucking nice. You pay no money to go, no real money. The games are like casual and easy. You can leave whenever the fuck you feel like it and not feel bad. It's great.
It's one of the it's really cool to be able to just go in and just be in an atmosphere where, if you go to a regular NFL game, everyone's cheering for the team. Everyone, well, not everyone, but the vast majority of folks are very invested in the game, are cheering, they're yelling, they're booing. That's just like going to a backyard barbecue. People are there to hang out, have a good time, drink beer, and that's the highest expectation you're going to get.
Yeah, it's such a fun, laid back, easygoing football experience, which is kind of tough to come by.
Oh yeah,
it's a very specific atmosphere.
It's fun.
Yeah, they're really great. So fingers crossed we get the chance to do that this year too. But again, one of the things we're just going to have to wait and see. Shall we transition into our final football topic for the day?
Yes.
Gardner
Minshew.
Yeah, tell me about Gardner Minshew.
Gardner Minshew, the Mustache King, which is what his Football Reference says is his nickname, which is hilarious.
That's amazing.
The Jaguars have come out and said that they're going to give him full opportunity to prove himself as a starting quarterback. The team traded away Nick Foles and what was one of the better trades a team could have made, which makes up for the fact that they got rid of Calais Campbell for a 5th-round pick. But regardless, Gardner Minshew is going to be the starting quarterback for the Jaguars this year. I have fairly high hopes for him. I think he was very efficient last year. I don't think he's going to have the same kind of efficiencies, but I do think he's going to be able to let loose a little bit more next year, knowing he has the reins. He's going to have another year with the playbook. That's always a big thing with rookie quarterbacks. I don't see him as being, a top-end starter in the NFL, but I see him being a guy who can transition this team from rebuilding to contending. I kind of view him as, I don't want to say like an Andy Dalton, but he's going to be the guy that carries them to the Jaguars, Joe Burrow, whoever that may be down the road. And that's kind of where I project he's going to fall among quarterbacks next year, somewhere amongst the Andy Dalton line.
I think that's probably fair. It depends. The Jaguars have not put the best offense on the in my lifetime, but what I like about it is that they're making a kind of like put your foot down decision, a decisive decision, I guess. You know, it's it's interesting. It's nice to see they're not waffling on it. They're really giving a shot to a young talent, which is, I think, a team what a team in the Jaguars position probably should be doing. You know, it's like, hey, we are one more bad season away from going full tear down and rebuild. Let's give the kid a shot, because if it works out, we have cheap labor at the world's most important position on a football field that we can ride for like 3 more seasons, maybe probably 2 before he gets an extension. And like try to put a team together on the fly. Or if it's a stinker, and he can't put it together, well, then we ride him out for the duration of his contract because it's nothing, tear down the team where we can and recuperate value, and try again in like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
So it makes total sense. This is a good gamble.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where if he does prove to be the guy, he's making enough money and, little enough money where they can go all in on free agency and try to push over the last 2 years of his contract. And if not, they lose nothing because he makes like $400,000 a year.
Yeah. This is like the Rams with Jared Goff from like, was it like 3 years ago now, when he was still on his rookie deal and they were just acquiring everything. Like if he can show the glimpses that Jared Goff showed at that point in time, where it's like, hey, this guy could be a top 5 quarterback. Not even that, honestly, though. Like if he could be like a top fucking 10, then yeah, like then I bet the Jaguars are thirsty for a championship, or for any relative mild success. They will trade everything to put a winner on the field. So
I don't disagree. I just think it's fucking hilarious that we're comparing the first overall pick to a guy drafted 178th.
Well, hey, all I'm
how
saying,
mighty have fallen.
all I'm saying is, I bet Gardner Minshew knows which way the sun rises and sets.
Okay,
Every
I have an honest to God question that I don't know the answer to off the top of my head. Would you rather have Jared Goff or Gardner Minshew?
right now,
Right now.
Gardner Minshew in a heartbeat.
Just on talent or talent plus contract, like the whole situation?
Talent plus contract.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? If I had to have Jared
Like
Goff
in a heartbeat
as essentially the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, or Gardner Minshew making fucking nothing, yeah, give me Gardner Minshew all the way. What if we're just talking talent? What if money, contracts are all voided? You're signing one of them to fucking $1 million a year. It doesn't matter who. Does that change your answer at all?
Yes. It's still Gardner Minshew, but not in a heartbeat.
Man, I don't know. Like, just off talent, Jared Goff still has higher potential, but I just don't trust the man anymore. I just don't
I don't
trust him
either.
to get it done.
That's the thing. Give me the gamble.
Yeah, you know what? I would take the gamble on Gardner Minshew. Goff has had so many opportunities to prove himself to be the guy, and he's had one good year.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I know that if you gave Jared Goff like the world's greatest offensive minded coaching staff and several premier players in the offensive positions that he'll still be like kind of good. And if you give Gardner Minshew almost literally no one, he'll still be kind of good. So, like, you pay a dude nothing, try your best to put a team around him, and see what kind of good can get you with like actual talent.
All right, I'm gonna give you some stat lines for these two players. I want you to tell me which one is which.
We're playing Ginshu versus
Ginshu
what's
versus Goff.
Minshew Goff. All right, it's the Goff off. Let's do it.
All right. So a 62.9% completion percentage, 4,638 yards, 22 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. For a quarterback rating of 86.5. And let's see, do we have rushing yards here? Nah, fuck it. Versus 60.6% completion for 3,271 yards, 21 touchdowns, 6 interceptions for a quarterback rating of 91.2.
The first one was Goff. Second one was Minshew.
You are correct, sir. You are
Yeah.
correct.
Yep.
Was there one stat that gave it away?
Two for me.
Was it interceptions
yards,
and passing yards?
passing yards, and interceptions. That was it. Yeah. Because
Um,
I knew Minshew didn't start all 16 games. And also I would know if he threw that many fucking interceptions. Yeah, Jesus. I forgot it was that many for Goff though. Oh my God.
I feel like we should rank. Like, I am really curious if we put together like rankings for like running backs, wide receivers, quarterbacks, how different they would be. I kind of want to do that now.
Hey, we have the time.
All right, that'll be something. We won't do it for next week because it's the draft, but the week after, that's what we.
Yeah, we should say for references, we're closing out sort of ish because we're getting near the end. Next week, the draft starts next Thursday, which is wonderful timing for us because we release episodes on Thursday. So, and it's the day of the week we're still doing sports. So next week's episode will be very draft centered. Corwin will present us hopefully with some mock stuff, right?
Yeah, I could do a fresh mock.
Would love to hear a mock. And we'll talk like wild predictions, things we could see happening with trades, funky shit, funny shit, draft stuff. Next week will be draft stuff.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I am so excited. I took off of work so I could just sit on my ass and do nothing but watch the draft, which I thought would be a bigger sell. It's not. That's just kind of a normal day at this point, so whatever. But I'm very, very excited.
Yeah, me too. It's gonna be I've never been this excited for the draft. Oh God, I need something sports adjacent to do.
Man, I'm excited for the Jets. The Jets are hopefully going to have a hell of a draft.
It really feels like we can't fuck this one up. I gotta say.
I was just about to say, like, you're in a position where it's going to be really, really hard to fuck this up.
I
Last
know
year,
it feels
you were
Jets
in a
proof.
position where it was near impossible to fuck it up, and you did great. I think this year you're in that same kind of boat.
Again, as long as we don't take an interior defensive lineman, I'm fine.
Derek Brown, come on down. My God. If you draft Derek Brown, I'm gonna shit my pants. Like, I'm gonna laugh so hard, I shit my fucking pants.
And then we trade Quentin Williams to the Giants for 3 first-round picks because the Giants don't know what they're doing.
You know what? I actually think I would trade Quentin Williams for 3 first-round picks, no questions asked.
I probably would too, just because that's a lot of first-round picks.
Yeah, like, I still
for
have
a
a
position
lot of
like
hope
we
for
don't
him.
desperately need.
Yeah, like, I still have a lot of hope for the guy, but damn, that's a lot of picks.
Yeah, no, I still have plenty of hope for I'm not giving up on him by any means, but 3 first-round picks is a hard thing to say no to, especially for a team as middling as the Giants, where those picks are probably going to be good.
Bless you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Still one of the greatest interview moments of all.
The man sneezed and gave himself a blessing, and I love him.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about today, sir?
I did have some fun baseball stuff, but it can be saved for later. I wanted to do one thing for Jackie Robinson Day, which again is the 15th of April of every year. It's the day that he debuted in the major leagues, so it has been dubbed his day. It's the day everyone wears 42 on the back of their jerseys. Something that if baseball is played again this season, I would still like for them to do. I think it would be really nice. Do they have to do it? No, MLB doesn't have to do fucking anything because they're ridiculous. But Jackie Robinson being such a huge part of baseball history, I sincerely hope that they would find some way to make that accommodation. Instead of doing baseball stats for Jackie Robinson, which we've done in the past, I thought I would instead give you a reading of his Hall of Fame induction speech. Jackie Robinson delivered his induction speech on his induction day of the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown on July 23rd, 1962. He was introduced by Ford C. Frick, and the speech is as follows. Thank you very much, Mr. Frick. First, let me say how much of a thrill it is to be coming into the Hall of Fame with Bob Feller, Mr. Ketchney, and Mr. Roche. I want to also let you know that I feel quite inadequate here this afternoon or this morning. But I think a lot of this has been eliminated because today it seems that everything is complete. First of all, I want you to know that this honor was brought upon me here could not have happened without the great work and the great advice and guidance that I have had from three of the most wonderful people that I know. And if any of them weren't here today, I know that that this day could not be complete. But they are all here, and I just hope you don't mind if I pay a few words of thanks and a tribute to my advisor, wonderful friend, man who I consider a father, Mr. Branch Rickey, and my mother, who taught me so much of the important things early in life. I appreciate no end my mother, Mrs. Robinson. And lastly, ladies and gentlemen, my wife, who has been such a wonderful inspiration to me, and the person who has guided and advised me throughout our entire marriage. I couldn't be here today without her help. And then and I must thank the baseball writers, I never thought at all I would have this wonderful honor coming to me so early in my lifetime. And to have the writers to elect me on the first time is a thrill that I shall never forget. We have been up in cloud nine since the election. I don't ever think I'll come down. But I want to thank all the people throughout this country who were just so wonderful during those trying days. I appreciate it at no end, and it's the greatest honor any person could have, and I only hope that I'll live up to this tremendously fine honor. It's something that I think those of us who are fortunate again must use in order to help others. Because it's such a tremendous honor that we should be able to go out and do things to help, I'm grateful, and I'm sorry I've taken so long, but I just wanted you to know that I appreciate it so much. Thank you. And that concludes Jackie Robinson's speech.
What a great speech.
Really, really was. He was a lovely man. If you ever get the chance to listen to anything, he has there's a lot of video of him talking to Congress or at rallies and such, interviews all over the internet because he was a huge advocate for, civil rights. After he had concluded his baseball playing career, did a lot of good work on behalf of the African American community. And it is so lovely that the MLB does choose to honor him in some meaningful way over the course of the season, especially this year on the 100th anniversary of the Negro Leagues. So it's just a treat. Just warms your heart a little bit,
Yeah. I really wish we could have actually celebrated Jackie Robinson Day.
I know
Baseball.
it's like my favorite specialty weekend of the year. Like if you took away the fucking Father's Day jerseys and the Mother's Day jerseys and the Players Weekend jerseys, like if there was an elimination where you could only keep one, give me the Jackie Robinson Day jerseys or just the Jackie Robinson Day celebration.
Mm-hmm.
Every single time.
Oh man, I'm really torn between Jackie Robinson and Players Weekend because man, like Jackie Robinson Day means so much more. But the Players Weekend jerseys are so fun.
They are fun. I will give you that. It's I get it. I get it.
Why can't we have Jackie Robinson Day where we have a bunch of nicknames for Jackie Robinson on the jersey? How about that?
That'd actually be kind of amazing.
There's
They
no
could
way
like
we
combine.
have 700 of them.
Imagine though, like this might be too corny. All right, I'm gonna go off the deep end. I'm gonna cornball it up for you over here. But Jackie Robinson plus, like Inspiration Day, where it's like
Oh
Jackie Robinson's
god.
jersey number, and then like someone who inspired you goes down the name plaque on the back. So it's like mom, or like dad, or like Louise Tiant, or Vita Blue, or Satchel Page, some shit like that. I don't know. But that's way too cornball and not
You
nearly
were
fun in the way of Players Weekend. So yeah,
um yeah, silver lining is we're stuck in quarantine so long. My hair's getting so long that I have to wear baseball caps every day. So got that
I
going for us.
I shaved my head.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I left like a patch, like 'cause I didn't feel like trying to do like a whole fade. So I did like kind of like a hard part and like a mild fade. Um, but it's really short. Like I still
Please,
buzzed it.
please send me a Snapchat of this.
Yeah, I can, but yeah, it's down there. Dude, I I have really thick hair. It gets super oily. It gets oily and um like dandruffy, which is super annoying.
Mm.
And the longer it gets, the harder it is
Same.
to manage. Like, yeah, it's such a fucking chore to handle. Um, I hate having it be long. So I chopped it off, assuming I'm not going to be seeing another human being for like 3 weeks.
I was very close to doing the same, and then I realized I might have a job interview at some point, and I'm not gonna fuck it up before then. I'm gonna see how long I can hold out.
Have you thought
Yeah.
about doing any self trimming over there?
Not on the top of my head. Ew.
I got it.
That's a
I
manscaping
didn't
joke.
love it, but I got it.
My mom wanted to cut my dad's hair, and she was asking if he had any hair trimmers, and he was like, "No, no, I never had any need." And I opened my mouth and started to say, "I do," and then realized I would never do that to my own father. Uh,
Oh, you really should have. That'd have been
yeah, so
hilarious.
I just like stopped right there and was like, never mind, nothing.
I just sent you a pic of
Oof.
the current hair situation.
Oh boy, live reaction.
Quality radio, us
Wow,
reacting to
you are
pictures.
just you are a New York Jew, my friend.
Thanks, pal.
The mustache, the soul patch, the glasses, I assume you stole straight from your father, that he hasn't worn since 1973. That's a look, my friend. That's a look. I'm glad you have it very much locked down, and you got yourself a woman that digs that look.
I'm telling you, man, I'm ready to drop like the wildest white man R&B album of 1978.
Oh god.
It's about to get dangerously sexual and up in this bitch.
Oh man, I just picture you just on the cover of your own album playing the bass just in the middle of just the deepest white boy groove. Um,
No, my album artwork would be me on satin sheets wearing like a velour house robe that is very, very not
oh
secure.
man, now I can't help but picture you doing the George Costanza on like the
Oh
lounge
yeah.
chair. Oh
You haven't
yes.
lived till you've seen my fuck me eyes.
Oh man, drape me in velvet.
Kenny G is gonna look like a virgin.
Can we get you, Kenny G, and George Costanza on the cover of your newest album?
Yeah, it'll be like a Beastie Boys joint. We're the three Beastie Boys.
Oh, please let me be Mike D.
Yeah, sure. I'll be MCA.
Man. All right. Well, I know what I'm doing after this. I'm listening to the Beastie Boys.
Hey ladies is my fucking jam, man. Calling out to you. Anyway,
You know what? I'm a fan of Girls. Girls just has that noise that just gets me.
I can appreciate it. I'm not saying I like the song, but Intergalactic always gets stuck in my head because of that fucking repetition of intergalactic like that fucking like
Mhm.
just churning constant like intergalactic just like all the way, it just gets jammed in my head and I can't get it out after I listen to it. Again, not like my favorite song, but it just like sticks in there for some reason. But
Oh, I know it.
we've definitely gone well past the purview of what we planned on talking about. So let's get out of here.
Sounds bueno.
All right. If you want to follow the show on Twitter, you can do so at JuicingPod. If you want to hit us up via email, you can do so at juicingthenumbers@gmail.com. Corwin and I were supposed to pick movies. We forgot. Corwin, do you have a movie?
Oh shit! All right, off the top of my head, Beautiful Boy.
Beautiful Boy?
Yeah.
Fuck is that?
Steve Carell, Timothy Chalamet.
I haven't even heard of that. All right, cool.
Perfect. We're both going into it blind because I was gonna.
All right, I pick. There Will Be Blood.
Ooh, nice.
All right. Those are the two movie choices. Follow us on Twitter. I guess we don't post that much. And have a good weekend. Until Monday, my friends. Y'all have a good one.
Bye.
Is Craig gonna leave?
Craig, fuck off.